It's as close as you'll ever get. It's almost like in the royal presence being with you. This is Henry. My name is Emma Maudsley, and I'm Senior Keeper of the Tower Armouries here at the Tower of London. So today we've got Henry's 1540 armour off display because it's going to go on loan up the road to the National Portrait Gallery. So we brought it into the studio. Chris is going to condition check it, make sure everything's okay before it gets packed up to go out on loan. It isn't something that happens every day. It's a very special armour. It was made to measure for Henry for one of two tournaments held in 1540. We know it was 1540 because it's dated. It's actually engraved with that date on the inside. It's part of a garniture of armour. So a garniture has various pieces that you can wear. You sort of swap them in and out so that they could be worn for foot combat, in a tournament, or in actual warfare, or could be worn for mounted tournaments such as a tourney or joust. Henry was by this stage 48, and he had sustained a jousting accident a few years before, which had left him unconscious for a couple of hours. So by the time 1540, he's not the fit young man that is shown by the armour that we have from 1515. He was 6 foot 1.5 inches tall. We know his exact measurements because these armours were made to measure. But the armour is beautifully shaped to sort of nip in slightly at the waist, to sort of flatter him like a well-cut suit. The decoration was designed by Hans Holbein Younger, and we know that because there are sketches of some of the decorations in another museum collection. Decoration in gold, gilt decoration, foliage and scrolls. It's very heavy. It is over 35 kilos in this setup, and more when you have the other pieces swapped over for jousting. Armours like that, when they're sort of set up for a joust, could weigh up to 50 kilos, so quite a considerable weight. One of the most famous parts of this particular armour is the codpiece, so the groin defence. Much commented on. The Victorians were quite prudish about that, and it wasn't on display when Henry was mounted in the line of kings during that period. The codpiece was very much a sort of symbol of the masculinity of Henry. It's very impressive, and of course being bigger makes you feel, look like you're much more fertile, and this is the king, so he's got to have the biggest codpiece, surely. But it also is protective, so it's there to protect the royal crown jewels. It feels very special to be that close, and also to see decoration that you wouldn't see on display. When you've got the pauldrons on, you've got the helmet on, some of this decoration is hidden. And so it's really special to see that up close, the bits that only Henry would have seen, or those dressing him would have seen. So it's remarkably well preserved for an armour of this date. And it's so significant in the collection of the Royal Armouries. It's one of those key objects that the public come to see. So in order to take him off display, we took some elements of the armour off to safely transport them. So we have his helmet, and we have his gauntlets, and we have a reproduction of the head that sits inside the helmet. There's a wooden original of this is on display in the White Tower of the Tower of London. It's rather nice to be able to have a glimpse through the helmet to see the face of Henry VIII. It does definitely help to bring it to life. And there would have been a wooden sculpted head like this inside it, and hands as well. So it is lovely to be able to get up close to see some of the detail on this helmet. and it's been modified. There are some evidence of how it's been modified over time, so it's great to be able to see that up close as well. And the gauntlets, and to be able to see the decoration and where they've been worn and how they've been worn as well. But you can really see how some of this gold decoration is still very bright in the places that are less exposed than the knuckles of the gauntlet. While this armour goes away on loan, it's going to be replaced by an armour that we believe was worn by Henry's son, Edward VI, as a boy. So it's another royal armour. It is in the right slot chronologically. So it comes after the 1515 armour of Henry VIII, and then the 1540, the rest of the garniture, and then before we have Henry Stuart's armour. So it does fit chronologically, and it's rather nice to have the boy armour next to his father. And then in September it will come back and go back on display where it was in the line of kings, where it has been for many hundreds of years. This is just one of the armours which belong to Henry VIII that are in the collection of the Royal Armouries. We also have more armours up on display in Leeds, free to visit, so do come and check those out.